That's an easy night for y'all. Y'all come here and box me up real quick, probably clip me, then go home.
As a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man
Your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
fighter with my integrity.
Jake Paul is now sparring with Shakur Stevenson ahead of his highly anticipated showdown with Gervonta Tank Davis. To prepare for Tank size, speed, and southpaw skill set, Jake brought Stevenson into camp to sharpen his reflexes, timing, and defensive awareness. After 5 years of steady progress in professional boxing, Jake believes this preparation could finally close the gap between him and elite competition. Confident and driven, he's aiming to stun the boxing world by knocking out Gervonta Davis and proving he truly belongs among the sport's top fighters.
Prepare for, like you said, a guy who is shorter than you. How do you find a sparring opponent to replicate something that obviously, there's nobody else out there that's Tank Davis? How do you prepare for a guy that's different stature-wise?
Yeah, no, we have world champions. Raymond Ford in the 130-pound weight class. We got Montana Lovin. Shakur Stevenson is coming in this week. So
wow.
Just sparring against guys on their level and people who have been doing this their whole entire lives. But we're really focusing on speed. And not as much on power. I'm not doing as much like weightlifting and all of that stuff. I'm actually trying to lose some muscle so that I have less weight and so that my punch.
Jake Paul's evolution from social media star to legitimate professional boxer has been nothing short of remarkable. He's already collected several official wins that reflect not just power, but also discipline and strategic improvement. Despite constant criticism and scrutiny, Jake continues to train relentlessly, tuning out the noise and focusing on growth. Now, with Gervonta Davis standing as his toughest challenge yet, he's determined to show how far he's come, turning skepticism into respect and proving that his success is no accident.
World and even shock myself and show myself what I'm capable of.
When you picture how it goes down, is there something that you see yourself doing? Do you see yourself knocking him out? Do you imagine being victorious? And what would that mean for you? A guy, again, who has only been in this sport for a couple of years. You've turned it on its head. You've had a massive impact, clearly, in just a few years, but it's only been a few years. That's the bottom line.
No, exactly. This is my 5th year as a pro, and so I've had to progress faster than anyone else in the sport to be able to compete at this level and to be able to hang in there with these guys. But I do believe that I have the power and the offense to be able to walk Tank into a knockout like I've done with other opponents and set them up for it. And so I am fully confident in my ability, and I think it would be one of the craziest upsets in a long time.
Yeah, one of the craziest upsets ever, probably, in many people's eyes. Well, I think I saw Cardi B just put a $250,000 bet down. It was a parlay, I believe, on Aspinall over Cyril Gahn. But then for Tank to beat you, have you seen that? And what do you think about Cardi B potentially facing a $250,000 bet here?
I didn't know.
I saw it on.
Bringing Shakur Stevenson into his training camp marks a clear statement of intent. According to Jake, Stevenson himself reached out and offered to join, adding authenticity and credibility to Jake's preparations. To replicate Davis's explosive southpaw rhythm, Paul has surrounded himself with skilled left-handed sparring partners, forcing him to adapt to new angles, movement, and counterpunch patterns. This camp emphasizes discipline, footwork, and conditioning rather than relying solely on knockout power. With Stevenson's technical precision influencing his sessions, Jake's style is becoming more refined, signaling a serious step toward competing at boxing's highest levels.
Sparring, we got some great guys coming in, some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that are fat.
While many still debate the legitimacy of celebrity boxing, the sport's core appeal remains untouched. Fans continue to gather for major fights, not just for spectacle, but for the heritage and emotion that boxing represents. The upcoming Paul versus Davis fight has reignited those global conversations. boxer Brian Mendoza weighed in, saying that matchups like this are part of boxing's evolution. If a fighter brings attention and revenue, then they deserve the stage. He reminded fans that boxing is both sport and business, and in that sense, both Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis have earned their place in the spotlight. This bout, he added, proves that boxing remains powerful and relevant even in today's fast-paced, social media-driven era.
And it's crazy, but people getting paid off of it.
Yeah.
So if he can call any one of y'all out and y'all can get that payday, I say go get it, baby.
You know,
I'm not mad at it.
For me, and I'm not, I got no, I'm not mad at this move at all for Tank Davis, but I think when it comes to boxing fans, there's an essence that comes with this sport, and it's an essence that hasn't been lost, unlike other sports. For an example, with football, we come from the hitting days.
Yeah.
Can't hit nowadays, you know what I mean? So boxing hasn't lost its essence, you know? They're trying to make it safer and, you know, all those sorts of things, but there's still this pureness to boxing that really doesn't exist in sports anymore, but it's still there with boxing. I think that's why people have such a problem with this kind of move from Tank Davis.
Is it more the heart? How do you guys feel being boxers?
Man, like once you hear the numbers, I'm like, they're talking, like I don't know the official one, they're talking about like 100 mil.
Oh, damn.
Like, they're talking about these insane numbers. Like I'm gonna be like, don't take that. I'm not gonna tell another man not to take that type of check, especially for something like that. It's not on your official record. It's an exhibition. I'm not gonna lie here and act like I'm not gonna say yes to 100 million or something like that. But I do see exactly what you're saying about the essence of boxing. I wish they would kind of separate a little more, because exhibitions have always been a thing. There's always been an argument.
Right.
But they're just selling it like a real fight almost.
Right.
So I think that maybe if we could create a better like distinction, the more of a difference,
Right.
there might be less hate on it. But at the end of the day, man, I'm not gonna tell Tank not to take that fight.
And I said this last year. I said create a influencer title. And let those guys fight over there in the influencer world. They can live the world and the life of...
The unexpected partnership between Jake Paul and Shakur Stevenson caught many fans by surprise. Stevenson, known for his discipline and traditional approach, rarely associates with crossover athletes. Yet, this collaboration bridges two worlds, traditional boxing and modern entertainment. Critics may have called it odd, but both men are benefiting. Jake gains elite-level technical guidance, while Stevenson connects with a massive, younger audience that normally wouldn't follow boxing closely. Their sparring sessions have been described as intense, technical, and surprisingly productive. Together, they're proving that old-school skill and new-school influence can coexist, reshaping how boxing adapts to modern audiences.
Stevenson reached out to Jake Paul in support of him preparing for Gervonta Davis. Help me understand, what is the difference between Boots Ennis reaching out to Canelo Alvarez in support of his preparation for Terrence Crawford versus Shakur Stevenson reaching out to Jake Paul in preparation for his fight with Gervonta Davis? Tell me, what is the difference? I'll tell you what the difference is. The Ennis family actually had a relationship with Canelo Alvarez. Shakur Stevenson has no relationship with Jake Paul. None. We heard, oh, Boots is a sparring partner. How much you got paid for that? So now, isn't that also applicable to Shakur Stevenson? Is he not also a sellout? I don't want to hear anything about this fight. It's against a YouTuber, it doesn't matter. No, Shakur Stevenson is an elite level fighter that is going to be a sparring partner to a YouTuber, and he reached out to him directly?
Since the announcement of Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis, Shakur Stevenson has clarified his views on the matchup. Some assumed his involvement meant full support for Jake, but Stevenson offered a balanced take. He sees the fight through two lenses, business and sport. From a business angle, he acknowledges the event's massive potential to attract attention and revenue, key drivers for modern boxing. But competitively, he admits it doesn't fully align with boxing's traditional standards. Still, Stevenson remains neutral, respecting both fighters' choices. His measured stance reflects maturity, showing he's more focused on how boxing evolves than on criticizing who's driving that evolution.
Taking that opportunity, because this is prize fighting, right? It's about making money and securing your family. Can you fault him for that?
it's two sides of that. Like,
Okay.
it just depends. Like, as a fighter, just because I had a draw with somebody, for me, I may run it back. But in a business aspect, if you run it back and you lose to Lamont, and then the Jake Paul fight is presented, you may not make as much money, or the fight may not be as lucrative as it was before you lost. So, as a business, I understand. I ain't gonna hate on the decision, but as a man
Your
and
pride
as
will
a
get in the way.
fighter with my integrity,
Yeah, but isn't there a price for everything, Shakur? Like, even if you did had a draw with somebody and you were offered 10 times more than you ever, I don't know what the number is, but it's a lot more than he's ever made. You think you might consider doing the same thing, right?
I would, but you gotta also realize, I know that it's not going nowhere. Like, the
Right.
fight ain't gonna go nowhere. Like, say, because if I really believe in myself,
Right.
and I wholeheartedly think, like, if we fight again, I'm gonna win this fight.
That fight still be there around the
After
corner.
I beat this motherfucker, where you at?
Yeah.
The fight's still there. It's not gonna go nowhere. But if I have a 50-50 thought process
doubt.
to where it's like,
Right.
yeah, I got doubt in my brain, I may be like, all right, fuck it.
Also,
Let's
in his
cash
case,
out.
it might be that he's tired of fighting anyway. He's leaning towards retiring
Yeah, let's
anyway.
cash out.
So he's just gonna get that.
Boxing commentators remain divided over the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis event. Traditionalists dismiss it as a marketing spectacle that threatens to overshadow true boxing contests, while others admit that such crossover fights attract massive new audiences and revenue. The irony, however, is undeniable. Even the critics who condemn these matchups benefit from the hype, as broadcasters, promoters, and rival fighters all profit from the attention they generate. This duality perfectly captures modern boxing's evolution. It's no longer driven solely by competition, but by characters, rivalries, and stories that captivate the public imagination.
For sure, there's a lot of people that switched over now. Everybody's
Okay.
like, oh, I've been telling y'all, Shakur. I know y'all have not. Y'all all been quiet.
They on the bandwagon
do
now.
you actually, we talked to Virgil Ortiz, right? He told us that he be screenshotting a lot of the hate on Instagram to remember to maybe one day comment on their posts. Do you remember certain comments or posts that bother you?
I remember it, but like, I'm not gonna screenshot it. What I do, I kind of like, if I see something, I be ready to argue it or go back and forth, but I get up and run.
But I'm
like,
talking
fuck it,
about
I'm gonna
Get
go
up and run.
run 3 miles.
It motivates you.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I'm
for
talking
sure.
about like somebody that you know in the boxing industry that you respected, that you kind of was disappointed, like, damn, like
Everybody, except for the people that's like right there with me, like the Bud Crawford. He's somebody who kind of stay with me throughout everything. And I think he's one of the realest people in the sport of boxing. But everybody, I feel like everybody just said, fuck it.
commentators, people that host
And
shows.
people around me started moving different.
Like
everybody,
like friends?
everybody,
Really?
everybody.
So you had to cut some people off?
Yeah, yes, I cut people
People
off.
you thought were friends.
Yes.
When you say moving different, what do you mean?
I ain't gonna like go into detail because I ain't gonna need to put everybody on the spot, but a lot of people start looking at me different. You know, social media make people think a certain image or certain things about you. Like, people I walk into every day, like, bro, I know you. I've been around you for years. You know me. So if you know me, how you feel as though that you gonna go and look at me different or treat me different than what I already was. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, what did Turkey say after that win, like on a personal conversation? Did he say anything to you?
Nah, he just said, good job. We're gonna get you on in next card.
Former UFC champion and analyst Daniel Cormier also voiced his opinion, calling the Paul versus Davis matchup less compelling than the fight's Tank could have taken within boxing's elite ranks. According to Cormier, Davis has already proven himself and doesn't need to chase spectacle-driven events. He believes Tank's legacy and financial stability make this fight unnecessary. Yet, Cormier's comments also highlight the cultural divide between sports purists and entertainment-driven promoters. Some see these crossover fights as harmful, while others recognize them as modern marketing genius. Ironically, critiques like Cormier's often fuel more curiosity, amplifying the very hype they're meant to challenge, and making the event even more unmissable.
Dean, that's bad. Because you know what that tells me? That tells me that even he recognizes that he's too big for him.
Yes.
He recognizes that he's too big for him.
I'm wondering how this even came about. It can't be that Gervonta Davis needs money. That can't be the reason why
he's been a world
taking this
champion so recently. How could he be broke?
That's what I'm saying. Like, is he doing this for money? And then why and how is even Jake Paul doing this when no one respects it? Like, I can't think of anybody that respects this.
But Jake Paul has been able to carve out and make his own lane in boxing, and I've never seen anything like it, bro. He literally, I mean, we don't know what weight class he fights in any situation. We just don't know. He kind of makes his own rules.
He makes his own rules.
And it seems like people are playing by those rules. I remember a couple weeks ago, the WBC and the Jose Sulaiman was very upset that he wasn't able to put the belt on the winner at Canelo versus Crawford. That's a thing that's happened since the beginning of the time. Those guys are very powerful in boxing. But with Zuffa boxing, it was almost like that power was getting stripped away. They were very disappointed. But how can you take those sanctioning organizations seriously when they are sanctioning this?
That's my point. That's my point. That's why I think that this whole thing that we have, this boxing and this MMA argument and Zuffa getting into boxing, our argument is misplaced because things like this should not be happening. And the fact that boxing is allowing this to happen is an embarrassment to the sport.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I talked about this before. Like, I didn't know why they were fighting because, I mean, Gervonta Davis's last fight was at 130.
Within the boxing world, many fans and experts agree that the real test lies in a potential matchup between Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis. Both fighters possess exceptional technical skill, composure, and championship experience. Such a clash would represent boxing at its purest, built on timing, defense, intelligence, and mastery of the craft. While Jake Paul brings mainstream entertainment, Stevenson versus Davis embodies the art of boxing itself. This contrast shows that the sport can thrive on both spectacle and substance, maintaining integrity while still embracing global attention. The anticipation surrounding a possible Stevenson-Davis bout underscores that true skill continues to command respect, even in an era dominated by celebrity-driven headlines.
2 belts. We have Tank to get a couple of the belts, and you have a undisputed fight for those two in Las Vegas, in America, between 2 American guys getting undisputed championship of the world. That would be a mega fight. And we're talking about 2 guys that you have the most dominant, persistent, powerful guy, pound for pound powerful guy, I should say, in Tank, who also is very good defensively, but then you're fighting the best defensive fighter in the entire world, in my opinion. That is a fight I would love to see happen. I would be a big fan of, but I think if we could let that kind of fester and develop for a little bit, and we get that fight, summertime next year, fall of next year, where this is an undisputed fight, I think that's the fight we would love to see happen. I would be all for that, and I think it's realistic. Like I said, I don't think Tank's losing to anybody except for possibly Shakur, and I don't think Shakur's losing to anybody except for possibly Tank.
Former world champion Tim Bradley also weighed in, advising Shakur Stevenson to remain strategic about his career path. Bradley suggested that Stevenson shouldn't chase a fight with Gervonta Davis unless it genuinely adds value to his legacy. With multiple world titles already under his belt, Stevenson has little left to prove. Bradley's point reflects how elite fighters carefully balance timing, opportunity, and legacy in their decisions. Meanwhile, the rise of crossover boxing, driven by stars like Jake Paul, has reshaped the sport's landscape. Though purists may resist it, the numbers don't lie. Millions of new viewers are tuning in, energizing networks, sponsors, and promotions. In many ways, boxing's survival in the digital era depends on personalities who blur the line between entertainment and athletic excellence. Jake Paul's rise isn't just about ego, it's a symbol of how boxing is adapting to modern media and expanding its global reach.
So on and so forth. So, with that being said, why even want to entertain a fight with Tank Davis? I mean, how much credit are you going to really get, Shakur, besides the money, right? That's what Tank brings. He brings interest. He brings a lot of fans in the seats, But as far as legacy goes, if people are holding Tank at a very low status, what, do you need him? Do you really need him? How you doing, man? Good morning. Do you really need him? Because I personally don't think that you need them. You know, Shakur, you should be here to create your own legacy. You know, you're about the competition. You are about that bread as well. And I think it's important for you to really look at the landscape, man, of boxing and see where your big money fights are, you know, besides Tank Davis. As you know, you hear through the grapevine, I think he even told you on X that, you know, he's contemplating retirement after his Jake Paul fight. You know, you're getting ready, hopefully, if Teofimo Lopez signs the contract, Shakur, to be fighting Teofimo Lopez, who has accomplished quite a bit in the sport, man, and has been in the ring with some legends, Josh Taylor, also Lomachenko. I think that type of fight makes sense. You know, going up to 140 pounds, getting it.
That's it for today's video. What do you think? Is Jake Paul's influence helping boxing evolve? Or is it pushing the sport further away from its roots? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more boxing breakdowns and updates.